Hello everyone, we are continuing the transformation tools. Now, what if we want to tip our cube over or roll it around? In order to do that, we need to rotate our cube. Let's check rotate tool from quick menus for that. This will display a gizmo over the selected objects or objects, showing each rotational axis. Just like the moving tool, you can left click drag any of the colored rings to rotate along a single axis, but you will notice there are two news areas, the outer white ring and the inner sphere inside the colored rings, which you will notice if you hover over it. The outer white ring can be used to rotate the objects along your viewing vector. Imagine your eyes drilling a hole into the center of the object and spinning objects around that axis of rotation. The inner sphere is what you see. If you hover over it, over the space between the colored rings, this can be left click drag to enter a free rotation mode, which opens all three axes to rotation, kind of like a trackball on a trackball mouse. For hotkey users, simply press R as in rotate to initiate the rotation along your given vector. You can then once again press X, Y or Z to rotate along the specific axis like the colored rings did. But you can also hit R again to initiate a free rotation like the inner sphere trackball, and again you can right click at any time to cancel the rotation or left click to apply the new rotation to your object. To reset your object's rotation at any time, simply press Alt R. Now, let's say we want to make our cube much bigger or much smaller, which can be the difference between, say, a tissue box and a house. This would be known as scaling our cube. So let's go check our quick tools menu again for a scale tool. Selecting this scale tool displays a gizmo very similar to the move tool. This works exactly the way you might expect it. Simply left click drag any of the colored axes to scale the object along that particular direction, big or small. You can also left click drag the colored squares to exclude one axis from the scaling process. But what if you want to scale the entire objects evenly? Just like moving, you simply left click drag anywhere in the viewport. For hotkey users, press the S key as in scale to indicate the size change evenly for all axes. Press X, Y or Z to scale only along a single axis, or press Shift X, Y or Z to exclude an axis from the scaling. You can right click at any time to cancel the resizing, or left click to apply the new size of your object. To reset the scale of your object back to its original scale, simply press Alt A. Now, you may have noticed that during the rotation and scaling procedures, there was a definitive center or pivot to the transformations. This is usually what the orange dot on your object signifies. However, what if you don't want to rotate or scale based on the object's pivot point? What if you want to rotate from the world origin or scale upwards relative to the floor level? That's where the 3D cursor comes in. This red and white circle is called the 3D cursor. It can act as the pivot point of any object as long as you click this drop down menu here and select 3D cursor. You can move the 3D cursor throughout your scene by selecting the 3D cursor in the quick tools menu and left click dragging anywhere in your scene or pressing shift right click. You can change the pivot back to the default median point at any time with the same menu as before. The 3D cursor can also be used for moving your object. Simply move your 3D cursor to where you want your object to go. Then go to Object, Snap, Selection to Cursor. For hotkey users, you can simply press Shift right click and then Shift S and use the pie menu to select Selection to Cursor. Just a friendly reminder, if you ever need to recenter your 3D cursor, Cursor to 3D Origin is also in the same Snap menu. Okay, now let's say I have run into the issue where I have rotated my object, but now I can't move the object along its own upward axis. I am stuck moving directly up, and that's not helpful. All you have to do is change this drop down menu up here from global to local. This will change all gizmos to display the object's local axis instead of the global axis for all transformations. For hotkey users, you can access local axis simply by pressing X, Y or Z twice instead of once after initiating your transformation. Another helpful tip for transforming your object is to hold Shift when trying to be more accurate. Holding Shift while moving, rotating or scaling your object will reduce the sensitivity of your cursor, affecting the transformation values. In other words, it will change slower as you move your cursor, giving you more nonsense control over the end results. In fact, holding Shift will achieve the same effect for cursor dependent values in most other editors as well. For example, dragging a number along a slider. Selection and transformation are the foundation of manipulating your 3D scene in Blender. And that's it for today's video. Hope it was helpful. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.